I've probably alluded to this in several videos, but it's something so important that it needs to be explicitly stated if you don't understand it already. When it comes to politics and there's this question of do we cancel the people who once canceled us, do we use law and order against the people who once used lawfare against us, people like to say, oh, but what precedent does that set? And that's a very narrow-minded argument because it doesn't consider what precedent is set by not performing the action. Because you're basically talking about game theory and the universalization of ethical conduct, which is to say, what will happen if I do something and others start to do it? And so the reason why this argument is so short-sighted is because we know through the field of game theory, and we know through the works of people like Robert Axelrod, who has studied the evolution of ethics, that tit-for-tat strategies are the best. Retaliation is actually in your own interest, it is in the interest of others, and it encourages collaboration. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's actually your strategy of being the bigger man and taking the moral high road that encourages conflict. The way game theorists prove this is by taking something called the prisoner's dilemma. It's an old thought experiment, it's often used in game theory, it goes like this. You and a friend of yours are thieves. You get caught, you get separated, and the police try to strike a deal with you. You can confess, or you can remain silent. If you confess and your friend doesn't, we'll say that he's the mastermind and you get to walk free. If you both confess, then we know that you are both co-conspirators, but you confess so you at least get shorter prison sentences. If, however, you remain silent, then you already know what happens if you remain silent and your friend betrays you. You get the longest prison sentence because we say that you were the mastermind. But if you both remain silent, well, we can't prove that you did it, but we know that you did it, so we have you on this other technicality and we're going to give you shorter prison sentences than if you both confessed. So here's kind of the layers to this. There are people down here who say, I don't want to go to prison, so I'm going to blame it all on him and walk free. You guys are right here. You realize that that doesn't work because then he'll just do the same. The issue is you aren't thinking up here. The final layer to this is the fact that if he knows that you are never going to betray him, then what is his incentive to collaborate? Suddenly, the first strategy is now viable because you won't betray him, so he can betray you and walk off scot-free. And this, when it comes to politics, is pretty much what's been happening globally for the past 10 years. A faction of spineless moderates and conservatives took power. They looked at the thousands of years of violence and bloodshed, silencing social dissidents that society is built upon. And instead of going, well, maybe there's a moderate approach to this, they decided that the thing that's been working for thousands of years actually doesn't work and we can just all live and let live. And then we didn't. This liberalism created a far-left extremist mob that knows, not thinks, but knows that if they shout and resort to violence, they will get their way because you do nothing about it. I'm not saying the right move here is to put them into re-education camps because I don't know what the right move is. I just know that the wrong move is being a doormat because then people are going to walk all over you.